It's all about textures and sound. For example, if I think about the concepts of a certain interval, like a fourth, that has a sound that I can start moving and playing around with. Now, if I go diatonically, that means that I really need to know all the different ways of playing that thing I'm expressing on the fretboard. In this case, that was the Dorian scale. So what I have to be able to see is the C Dorian scale, anywhere on the fretboard. Right? And it doesn't need to be Dorian, it could be any scale. So something that is great to do is practice playing your scales on one string, which is something you can practice along with me on my website, weissguitar.com, inside my Galactic Modern Guitar series. We do that a lot. But not only that, starting to connect different elements to those stuff. So that means voicings. Or if you see a voicing, being able to play a pentatonic scale around it. Right? And also introduce different types of intervals. You see, these are all diatonic fourths to the Dorian scale, but let's say I had enough of that sound, but I still want to stay in that C kind of world, C Dorian. So I can play stuff like diatonic triads and still have the Dorian sound, and then I have a nice contrast between some fourths, pentatonics and blues stuff, and just like, you know, the diatonic triads. So that can be, you see, that's fourths and that's the thirds. And if I want to play it maybe over here, that was major, so that was wrong, but see this? So now I have this concept of comping with both a more kind of like triads, diatonic triads, in this specific case, second inversion ones, and then going to fourths. And then I can come up with all the out stuff because I can see what's in. And when you can see what's in, you can then be creative with the out stuff. So first of all, you need to know the in stuff. In order to do that, you really need to have a very specific way of diving into the different scales, all the different keys, the diatonics, knowing triads in a very, very deep level, and not like, you know, something that you can just learn from a YouTube video, something that you need to really dive deep into. And that's why I invite you to check out my Galactic Modern Guitar course. You can do that, the link is in the description of this video. So we have some control now, so we can start creating these chromatic kind of shifts, but also going to kind of like more of the altered materials that relate to the 5 chord of our tonic. So we had the C minor tonic, I can go to G. So if you count 5 from C, you get to G, right? C, D, E, F, G. You see, if I play an altered chord, that creates a beautiful resonance to my C stuff. So I get kind of like this kind of sound. In, fifth, outness of chromatics around, back in, and harmonically, same thing. In fourths, right? Outness of chromatic notes added. Going back, and then playing maybe the 5 altered, back to the 1. have these sounds in your head, you can also do that more melodically, like, you know, stuff like. So this structure, I know I'm gonna play that because I know how the in structure looks like, you know, because I can see the in, I can play a half step above. Right, so and the balance of in and out is it really has to do a lot with just like what you feel like playing, but it also really depends on the context. And that happens a lot when you just listen to this kind of like modern jazz and jazz and all these kind of, you know, stuff that has these sounds. That's in, that's outness around my in of the fourths, you see? And then if I go to G altered, I don't need to play only this voicing. I can go to diatonic fourths from the altered. I really dive deep into these kind of voicings and techniques in inside my Galactic Modern Guitar course. There's also a full course about melodic minor. So when you go there, one of the modules has to deal with these kind of voicings, right? But also associating materials to them, which is another thing, you know, whenever you have these kind of sources, always associate melodic stuff to it. Like if you have this nice Jimi Hendrix, I guess, voicing, it's basically just a sharp 9, 7 sharp 9. So have some stuff you can play around it. First of all, just the altered scale, but also some, you know, phrases. Right, or if you have the different, if you have some C minor stuff, if you have outness, so also be able to express that outness melodically. Going more deeper into intervals, when you learn those scales, and something that, again, I go inside my courses, all the stuff I'm talking about here, if you really want to have it in an organized way, where I took the time to really structure a program that you can practice along with me, going from the very beginnings of, I mean, not very beginnings, but, you know, knowing the triads really well, and then we start getting really creative with that. We add notes to triads, we start voice leading, we get into jazz essentials, we go into the melodic minor stuff, I show you different etudes, an example of applications in different jazz standards, and so much more. Check it out, the link is in the description of this video. And having, you know, different materials to associate to all of these stuff is just great. What you want to have is a feeling that you're working on the individual elements, but you're also working on, from my perspective, on connecting the elements. So if you see a voicing, you have an arpeggio for it, right? If you have this voicing, this has an arpeggio. A linear representation, a melodic representation of that chord melodically. And linear, I mean within an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And of course, being able to invert ideas and move them diatonically. The simplest idea I can think about is just like if you have this, right, and you're in C major, that will be just modulating it to the next diatonic interval. Right? But you need to also be able to do that with more sophisticated scales, like the altered scale, for example, would be. Or if I have and then connecting elements to that too. Like, can you see a voicing around those elements? Or arpeggios around these elements. Diatonics, you know, and it really takes time, and it takes discipline and consistency, and you can really save so much, you know, confusion that I had to go through back in the days. When you join my Galactic Modern Guitar series, you're gonna have everything organized in a very specific way. So I'm just sharing openly, you know, stuff because I noticed that you guys like these kind of videos where I just talk about stuff very openly. So I'm trying to get into the flow of just like sharing. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much for being here. And as always, if you have any questions, so feel free to comment below. Or anything that you want me to talk about in the next videos. It's been a blast. I'm really enjoying the interaction. Some of you guys that we just started from the comments became private students of mine, or people who joined the courses. And it's just like, it's amazing the times that we live in, that we can share and exchange ideas like that. I'm definitely really happy with this. So anyway, guys, thank you so much, and stay inspired. Big hugs, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.